You are standing in absolute darkness. The air is thick with the sweet, heavy scent of burning sandalwood. Your face is covered by a pristine white cloth, tied tightly over your mouth and nose. In front of you, roaring within a massive bronze chalice, is a pillar of fire. You are a Magus. 2,000 years from now, your title will become the root of a concept that will fascinate the modern world. People will call it magic. They will call your descendants magicians, mages, and sorcerers. 500 years from now, an offshoot of your ancient order will spot a strange anomaly in the night sky, travel west to Jerusalem, and be forever immortalized in the Christian Bible as the 3 wise men. But right now, there is no wand-waving, no cheap illusions, and no starlight journey. There is only Asha, the cosmic truth, and Druge, the eternal lie. To you, the fire blazing in this room is not a symbol. It is a living, breathing entity. It is the son of Ahura Mazda, the supreme god of light. If this fire dies, or if it is polluted by the moisture and decay of your human breath, the fragile fabric of the universe will shatter. The demons of darkness will flood the earth. The year is 550 AD. The place is the mighty Adur-Gushnasp, the royal fire temple in the freezing Zagros Mountains of the Sasanian Empire. And on day 3 of 7 in our journey through the ancient world, the man tasked with holding back the apocalypse is you. This is the 3rd episode in our series. Today, you are the most powerful priest in the Middle East. But before you can even step foot inside this sacred room, before you can feed the living God, you must undergo a pre-dawn purification ritual so extreme, so viscerally shocking, that the modern mind can barely comprehend it. It is 3 hours before sunrise. The wind howling across the Zagros Mountains is bitter and relentless, but you do not feel the cold, because your mind is entirely consumed by the absolute necessity of precision. You wake up on a low, hard wooden bed inside the austere stone barracks of the priest compound. You must not let your bare feet touch the ground. To the ancient Persians, the earth is a sacred creation, a pure element of Ahura Mazda that must be protected from the inherent contamination of human flesh. You slip on leather sandals before you even stand. You walk in complete silence to the washing courtyard, stripping off your woolen nightclothes. The sky is pitch black. The water in the stone basins is freezing. But water is not what you use first. Before pure water can touch your skin, you must cast out the invisible forces of decay. You take a bronze bowl filled with nirang. It is the consecrated urine of a white bull. To a modern observer, this sounds repulsive, but chemically, the high ammonia content acts as a harsh, effective sterilizing agent. To you, however, this is not about hygiene. This is spiritual warfare. You scrub your entire body with it, chanting ancient Avestan formulas to drive away Nasu, the terrifying corpse demon of pollution that constantly seeks to latch onto human weakness. Only after the nirang has dried do you plunge into the freezing well water, washing away the residue 3 times. Your teeth chatter, but your chants do not falter. Then comes the grooming. To the Magi, hair and nails are considered dead matter, highly susceptible to demonic pollution. Instead of shaving your body like the priests of Egypt, you carefully comb your hair and thick beard, ensuring not a single loose strand falls to the sacred earth. You tightly bind your head with a pure white turban, sealing away any impurity. Finally, shivering in the pre-dawn wind, you don your armor. It is not made of iron or steel. It is a sudra, a shirt of white muslin so finely woven it is nearly transparent, and a kusti, a sacred cord of 72 woolen threads. You wrap it around your waist exactly 3 times, 1 for good thoughts, 1 for good words, 1 for good deeds. You then secure it with exactly 4 sacred knots. Your physical vessel is now perfectly purified, a sterile weapon ready for deployment. But the true battle of the day has not even begun. The living God is waiting, and he is hungry. You step out of the stark, freezing washing courtyard and into the heart of the temple complex. The transition is jarring. Adur-Gushnasp is not just a building, it is a sprawling, heavily fortified city of faith. As you walk through the massive stone corridors, the wealth of the Sasanian Empire surrounds you. King of Kings Khosrow Anushirvan himself sponsors this temple, sending plundered gold and captured treasures from his wars against the Romans. The walls are thick, the columns are imposing, and the courtyards are swarming with activity even before dawn. Hundreds of lesser priests are already awake, murmuring texts they do not fully understand, sweeping floors, tending to the vast agricultural estates owned by the temple. They bow their heads respectfully as you pass. You are a mobed, a chief priest, one of the elite few. You do not just pray, you rule. The Magi are the absolute intellectual and administrative backbone of the empire. You are the judges who decide land disputes and order executions. You are the tax collectors who fund the military. You are the scholars who map the stars, calculate the calendar, and advise the king on whether the astrological signs are favorable for a military campaign. In the eyes of the common people, your knowledge of astronomy, medicine, and unseen forces makes you terrifyingly powerful. You do not explain the mechanics of the universe to them, you simply command it. But right now, none of that political leverage matters. You leave the bustling outer courtyards behind and approach a heavy, intricately carved door. Beyond it lies the inner sanctum, a place where no king, no general, and no uninitiated human is ever allowed to enter. Inside is the Atash Beram, the victorious fire, the highest grade of sacred flame in Zoroastrianism. It was consecrated from 16 different sources, including lightning that struck the earth, and has been burning continuously for centuries. You pause at the threshold. You pull the white padan higher over the bridge of your nose, ensuring it is completely secure. You put on a pair of spotless white gloves. You take a slow, deep breath, knowing that for the next hour, you cannot exhale freely. You push open the door and step into the unbearable heat. The air inside the inner sanctum is thick, dry, and superheated. It feels as though you have walked into the very center of the sun. The room is unadorned, devoid of the lavish decorations found in the outer halls. There are no statues here. There are no idols. To the Magi, attempting to carve the likeness of the divine into stone is not just foolish, it is deeply offensive. God is formless, boundless, and pure. And his ultimate physical manifestation on earth is the roaring entity sitting in the center of the room, the Atash Beram. The fire is contained within a massive, urn-like vessel, forged from gleaming bronze and silver, resting on a stone pedestal. It is mesmerizing. It is terrifying. You approach it with the reverence a man might show to a sleeping emperor. Your movements are slow, deliberate, and entirely rehearsed. You do not speak. You do not cough. You certainly do not breathe directly toward the flames. The white padan tied across your face is not a symbol of humility. It is a vital, functional barrier. To the ancient Persians, human breath originates from within the body, a place of biological decay, mortality, and eventual putrefaction. Breath is inherently impure. If your raw, unfiltered exhalation were to touch the sacred fire, it would be a spiritual catastrophe. It would pollute the son of Ahura Mazda, allowing a microscopic foothold for Ahriman, the spirit of destruction, to enter the temple. And so, suffocating in the heat, breathing shallowly through the thick linen cloth, you take up a pair of long silver tongs. You select pieces of perfectly dried sandalwood and fragrant frankincense from a nearby basket. You must feed the god. But even this act requires extreme caution. You cannot simply toss the wood into the flames. You must place it gently, precisely, ensuring that the fire consumes it evenly and without sudden flares. You perform this ritual 5 times a day, timed perfectly with the movements of the sun, tracking the shifting shadows with astronomical accuracy. You watch the wood catch, the smoke rising in a straight, fragrant column toward the ceiling vent. The god is satisfied. The cosmic order, for this brief moment, is secure. But your duties are far from over. You step back from the Atash Behram, keeping your face towards the fire, sweeping your footprints from the stone floor so that no trace of your mortal presence remains. But the fire feeding is merely the maintenance of the god. Now comes the active battle. You leave the inner sanctum and move to the Dar-e-Mer, the ritual precinct. The space is lined with shallow channels for pure water and low stone platforms. You sit cross-legged on a marble slab. Arranged around you are gleaming vessels of silver and bronze, a small mortar and pestle, and fresh goat's milk. Beside them lies a bundle of dried twigs. This is haoma, known to modern science as a phidra, a plant containing a natural mild stimulant that can induce a trance-like state. You take the mortar and pestle. The ritual you are about to perform is the yasna, the supreme act of Zoroastrian worship. It will take 2 hours. You will not read from a scroll. There is no book in front of you. You are about to recite the 72 chapters of the yasna from memory. It is over 100,000 words in Avestan, a sacred language that the common people of the empire no longer speak or understand. You have been memorizing these syllables purely by sound since you were 7 years old. You begin to crush the haoma twigs. The metallic ringing of the pestle striking the mortar echoes off the stone walls. It is a sharp, rhythmic alarm bell in the spiritual realm. You begin to chant. The Avestan words are not poetry. To the ancient Persians, these spoken words, the mantras, have physical mass. They have vibrational power. They are literal weapons. As you chant, your voice rising and falling in hypnotic cadence, you are actively striking down the devas, the invisible demons of sickness, drought, and chaos that swarm the unseen world around you. You pour a few drops of holy water onto the crushed haoma. You pound it again. You are not just a priest anymore. You are a cosmic warrior, and every syllable you utter is a shield holding back the dark. The physical toll of the ritual begins to set in. Your throat burns. The air in the Dar-e-Mer is heavily perfumed and stifling. But you do not stop. You cannot stop. To mispronounce a single vowel, to break the rhythm, or to lose your concentration is not merely an administrative error. It is a microscopic crack in the cosmic dam, allowing the forces of Druj to seep through. The Persian worldview is fundamentally dualistic. There is no gray area. Everything in existence is locked in a brutal, uncompromising war between the truth and the lie. And your voice is the vanguard. You take the mortar, now containing the crushed haoma, and slowly mix it with the goat's milk and the consecrated water. This mixture is not meant to be a potion in the theatrical sense. It is a physical manifestation of purity, a literal extraction of the divine essence hidden within the material world. As you pour the liquid from one silver vessel to another, your chanting grows louder, resonating in the stone chamber. You are invoking the Amesha Spentas, the 6 divine sparks or archangels of Ahura Mazda, calling them down into this tiny, enclosed space to witness your effort. Your legs, crossed tightly beneath you, have long since gone numb. The muscles in your back ache from the rigid, upright posture you must maintain. Yet you push through the pain, entering a state of hyper-focused trance induced by the repetitive rhythm, the fasting, and the sheer mental weight of the ancient words. The metal rings, the water flows, the words strike. Finally, as the first pale light of the morning sun breaches the high, narrow windows of the temple complex, you reach the climax of the yasna. You raise the cup. You drink the haoma. The bitter, earthy taste floods your dry mouth. The ritual is complete. You have successfully anchored the sky. You have given the sun the spiritual energy it needs to rise for another day. The universe has survived. largely because of the exhausting, invisible war you just fought on this cold marble floor. The sun is fully up now, casting sharp, brilliant light across the vast stone courtyards of Adur-Gushnasp. The spiritual battle of the morning is won, and it is time to turn your attention to the physical empire. You return to the priest barracks, carefully removing the white paddon from your face and exchanging your ritual gloves for the bare hands of a scholar. You walk to the temple's observatory and library, a massive stone structure filled with thousands of leather scrolls and parchment maps. Here, you are no longer just a priest, you are a scientist. The Magi are obsessed with the sky. You believe that Ahura Mazda wrote the destiny of empires in the movement of the stars, and it is your job to read it. You sit at a heavy wooden table, unrolling a complex astrological chart. Using a bronze astrolabe, you meticulously calculate the current positions of Jupiter and Saturn, predicting their alignments for the coming months. You are searching for anomalies, for signs of royal births, massive wars, or shifts in cosmic power. You do not know it yet, but this obsessive, mathematical stargazing is exactly what your order will be remembered for. 500 years from now, a group of your descendants, poring over these exact same types of charts, will notice a profound and highly unusual celestial conjunction. They will pack their bags, mount their camels, and ride west out of the Persian Empire, following a star all the way to a small manger in Bethlehem. The Christian world will forever call them the Three Wise Men. They will be immortalized in songs and nativity scenes globally. But today, you are not chasing a messiah. You are simply doing your job. You record your astronomical findings in Pahlavi, the complex script of the Sasanian court, preparing a report that will be sent directly to the King of Kings in the capital city of Ctesiphon. He will not mobilize his army without your astrological clearance. Your math dictates the movement of hundreds of thousands of soldiers. By mid-afternoon, your role shifts again. You move from the quiet solitude of the library to the shaded colonnades of the temple's public courtyard. You take your seat on a raised stone chair. You are no longer just an astronomer, you are the supreme judge. The Sasanian legal system does not separate church and state. The word of a magus is the ultimate law. Local villagers, merchants, and lower-ranking nobles have been waiting for hours to bring their disputes before you. A man is dragged forward by temple guards, accused of stealing irrigation water from his neighbor's fields. A serious crime in a land where agriculture depends entirely on careful water management. You listen to the testimony. You do not consult a jury. You do not refer to a secular law book. Your judgment is based entirely on the principles of Asha. You decree that the thief must repay the stolen water tenfold and be flogged 30 times with a horsewhip. Your sentence is carried out immediately in the courtyard. No one questions it. To defy a magus is to defy the divine order itself. Later, a woman brings her feverish, coughing child to you. As a high priest, you are also a healer. But ancient Persian medicine is a fascinating blend of practical herbology and intense spiritual warfare. You do not view the child's illness as a virus or a bacterial infection. To you, sickness is the physical manifestation of an invisible demon that has breached the body's natural defenses. You examine the child, and then you prescribe a bitter tonic made from crushed willow bark to bring down the fever. But the medicine is only half the cure. You place your hand on the child's hot forehead and recite a specific, rhythmic incantation, an exorcism designed to drive the demon of disease out of the boy's flesh. You are fighting a war on every front, in the stars, in the courtroom, and in the bloodstreams of your people. Before the afternoon ends, you make a brief stop at the temple school. You watch your 11-year-old son sitting cross-legged among the other boys, reciting the same Avestan hymns you learned at his age. You correct his pronunciation sharply when he slips on a vowel. The Magi are a closed hereditary caste. Only the son of a priest can become a priest. You are not just teaching him words. You are forging the next link in an unbroken chain of spiritual guardians. The sun begins to dip below the jagged peaks of the Zagros Mountains, casting long, deep shadows across the temple courtyards. For you, this is not a time of relaxation. It is the most spiritually dangerous moment of the day. The transition between light and dark is a battleground. As the sun's power wanes, Ahriman's forces of darkness grow bolder. You must return to the inner sanctum. Once again, you wash. Once again, you tie the padan over your face. You feed the Atash Bayram its evening meal of sandalwood, ensuring the flames are strong enough to hold back the encroaching night. Only when the fire is roaring and the evening chants are completed do you finally allow yourself to rest. You return to the barracks and join your fellow priests for a simple, communal meal. Despite your immense political power, the daily life of a magus is not one of gluttony. You eat flatbread baked in purified ovens, a piece of hard cheese, and a small portion of roasted mutton. You drink a cup of watered-down wine. The conversation around the wooden table is surprisingly ordinary. You are divine warriors, but you are also men. You gossip about the new taxation policies in the capital. You debate the rumors of a Roman legion mobilizing on the western frontier. You quietly complain about a senior priest who is growing too old and forgetful to perform the yasna correctly. When the meal is finished, you walk back to your small, unadorned cell. Your body is utterly exhausted. Your scalp is smooth and cold against the night air. Your skin smells permanently of wood smoke, frankincense, and myrrh. You lie down on your hard wooden bed, careful not to let your blankets touch the impure earth floor. You close your eyes. You sleep, trusting that because of the words you chanted and the fire you fed, the universe will still be here tomorrow. That was day 3. The life of a man whose daily routine involves washing in the urine of a bull, breathing through a linen mask, and memorizing thousands of dead words to wage war against invisible demons. A man whose very title, Magus, will echo through eternity as the root of the word, magic, yet whose actual existence was far more grueling, precise, and profoundly powerful than any modern fairy tale. But tomorrow, the fire remains, while everything else changes. Tomorrow, on day 4, you will no longer be a powerful middle-aged man commanding the respect of empires from a mountain temple. You will wake up as a young teenager in the heart of the most ruthless empire on earth. You, too, will be tasked with guarding a sacred, eternal fire. But your stakes are terrifyingly physical. If your fire goes out, or if you break your sacred vows, you will not just lose your position. You will be stripped, beaten, carried through the streets in a funeral litter, and buried alive underground with a single loaf of bread. Who are you? And how will you survive? That is day 4. If you enjoyed day 3, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the horrors of tomorrow, and drop a comment below. What shocked you most about the Persian Magi, and can you guess who you will be in the next episode? Let me know. As always, we'll see you in the past.